What's up, Leafs fans? Welcome back to another Leafs Nation After Dark. I'm Zack Phillips, and tonight we're going to be breaking down game number 11 of the Toronto Maple Leafs regular season, defeating the Seattle Kraken here tonight 4-1 in what was a pretty impressive victory, almost wire to wire, which we will talk about there. There was a little bit of a hairy moment in the first 5 minutes. It felt like, okay, a little bit of a slow start. Are we sleeping here? Is the arena sleeping? Are we going to be able to get into it? And then the boys got going, and then from that point on, they continued it right through towards the end of the game. The only thing that was unfortunate, as Supa Sim does point out there in the chat, yep, the boys didn't look too thrilled with the win due to losing that shutout, and Fisk TV bringing it up either. Yeah, that's going to be another thing that they're going to be looking at here tonight and being like, wow, I can't believe we gave that one up. You know, those ones where they look at guys going out in the final couple of minutes with an empty net to try to get them a hat trick, that we've seen so many times in the past where we've, given those guys that opportunity, given them a couple minutes out there, force fed them the puck. That might have been the one and only time this season that Berube allows that to take place. He might just say from here on out, no more. If you get the chance, if you get down into the offensive zone, you shoot the puck in the empty net. We put an end to this thing because 3-0. You have a chance to make it 4. You dink around with the puck in the offensive zone for a little bit, and ultimately doesn't go in. Puck ends up coming out of the zone. It comes back into your own zone. Seattle gets an opportunity to set up, and then Tolvanen rips it home. It breaks the shutout, and it just gives you a little bit of a scare. Brings it within 2 goals there for no reason late. So that's the only kind of negative towards the end. At the beginning, it was a little bit slower to come into the game. I thought there might have been just a little bit of a delay. I didn't know what was going to happen with that, but yeah. I thought this was a pretty impressive win, all in all. I thought that they played pretty well. I thought that they looked pretty solid. There was a couple of moments there, special teams-wise, where it didn't look that great. But then the final power play that they had, I was looking at saying, you know what? I think that they had some good opportunities. I think they generated a bunch. I think that they created chances. They had some dangerous looks. Domi hits the post, which isn't going to show up as a shot on goal, but he's a guy who goes out there, does not shoot the puck regularly, rips that one, almost scores. There's a couple point blank opportunities. Pacioretty gets one of the chances there late. Ends up getting tipped off of what was essentially like a surefire goal. I saw some people tweeting at me here as well tonight. Had their Canadian coffee place picks that they were trying to get those final goals for. One of them got sent out. It was a Max Pacioretty was on the list. Matthews was on there as well. So kudos to them for hitting that Matthews one. But Pacioretty would have been nice to add. Just add a little sweetener to it. It's like a little bit. It's a bittersweet one. Pacioretty, so close. But you do get the Matthews on, so at least you get the one there for your Canadian Coffee Company picks that people are putting out. If you are watching the show here right now and you haven't already, please hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel, the Leafs Nation 401 right here on YouTube. You can find the Leafs Nation After Dark on podcast platforms. Wherever you find your podcasts, make sure to check that out. I looked. Seems like a lot more of you guys are finding it on there. Obviously, come here, watch it, participate in the chat. I appreciate that. You miss it, you want to watch or listen to it back, you want to tell other people about it, they want to listen to it, they can find it on all podcasting platforms. So Leafs Nation After Dark, and not only that, but Leafs Morning Take. You're going to want to be checking that out as well. Monday to Friday, 11 a.m., talking about the games from the night before, looking ahead to upcoming games, interviewing amazing guests. You want to be subscribed to this channel for all the best Leafs content on YouTube. Reactions, the best is here. Breaking news, the best is here. This is where you want to be for all of that. So subscribe, hit that like button. As well, I don't know if you guys noticed, looked in the description, the title, whatever. We will be joined here tonight by Tyler Ennis. This is one that I'm very excited about, to have him on the show. I'm really, really excited for him to be joining us here and breaking this game down. He's someone that I thought was an extremely fun player during his time in Toronto and when he was in the NHL. Someone that I loved watching in these games, online, whatever it was. So to be able to talk to him here tonight and break down this game and try to get a little bit of an insight about what's going on with this team and his thoughts about some of the things that could be hindering maybe some of the offensive ability of some of these players. I'm curious to see his takes and hear what he has to say about it, because, another night, 0 for 2 on the power play. As much as it is amazing to score goals at 5-on-5, which I will not take away from special teams, it does matter. It does matter. Back to you guys in the chat. A couple of things. First of all, super chats. A couple super chats. Let's address this one first. So super chat here. Tammy, super chat. Bobby McMahon, or is that you, Zach? Happy Halloween, guys and ghouls. I see a lot of you guys pointing it out, making fun of it. That's all good. You guys get it out in the chat. Do what you got to do. Say what you got to say. Zach, Zorro, Zach Matthews. Where is Zach? Is Zach going to be on the show on Saturday night? Who is this? Whatever. It's all funny. I appreciate it. Donnie says that's a salad bowl cut. Okay. Fair enough. I can take these ones. So they were making me laugh, and I was trying not to. I was just trying to power through while I was reading them all get sent. Yeah, it's Movember. I can't grow a muzzy like Nick or producer Vic, so I had to cheat. I had to jump ahead of it and start early here. As for the haircut, this is the same haircut I've been rocking for like 3-4 years now. So this is nothing new. Come on, chat. Let's not overreact here to what's going on. This is the same stuff that I've been doing for a while. It probably just maybe looks a little bit different because there's nothing else going on elsewhere. So it's a little bit different. William, thank you. I appreciate it. You guys are allowed to make fun. I'm not mad or upset or anything about it. I thought it was funny. I just wanted to point that out. Yes, we did change things up. I went, got it done. I was going to do it tomorrow, but the guy I go to, he was not available tomorrow. So had to make some arrangements and do it today. Not the greatest timing considering that October 31st, I'm jumping on here and having to do this in front of you guys, but nonetheless, gets it done. All right, another super chat here. Also, funny comment. Brian Day, there's only 2 weeks between a good and a bad haircut. Thanks, Brian. Appreciate that. Maxentius Decimus, our second line, better than our first line. I would say no in the long term. Right now, we're like, here's the thing, though. Here's the thing, Max, with what you saying, second line is better than the first line right now. The second line, I was calling them the BMW line, and we had Bobby, Max, Willie, we were saying, wow, these guys are amazing. They're generating way more than the first line. These guys are getting it done. This is a great group to have together. This is a great group to generate offense and move quickly up and down the ice and get opportunities. Like, they were really buzzing. They were doing a lot of good stuff. Now look at them. Broken out onto different lines. It went into a lull, and it didn't work for an extended period of time. It had looked great for a couple of games. It had flashes in a couple of games, and then it went quiet in a couple of games. Then you got back into, we're quiet, we got to shake things up. So then you jump around and move the lines and bring guys in and out of the lineup and put guys in and out of the press box, and you end up with Pacioretty back in the lineup. Nick says on Saturday, I don't think they're using Pacioretty right. All credit to him. I will say it a million times. Nick Stradamus, he knew. He said, I don't think he's being used properly here in the bottom six. I don't think he's being used properly in a non-offensive role. Bang. Next thing you know, he's in the top six. I don't know. Maybe Berube and the boys are watching the Leafs Morning Take and the Leafs Nation After Dark, but they switch it up. He goes out onto the second line. They put JT back to the second line, and I still have reservations. I do. I think it's looked really good so far here through these couple of games that they've been together, but I'm not a long-term fan of Willie and JT playing together. We are seeing a real good spurt here from Tavares where he looks faster. He looks like he's keeping up with the play better. He's generating more, so that's obviously great. What happens when JT's legs take a step back? Where is he going to be at then? a lot of you guys pointing out John Tavares needs some love too. He's playing better. He's playing amazing. He's been awesome. He's been awesome in these last couple of games. So all the credit in the world to him. And I see a bunch of you guys saying JT's playing better. JT's helping this out. He is for sure. And that's kind of like, not to be negative about it, but that's the one area that I would look to. At the beginning of the year, he looked a little bit slower. He looked behind the play. And I think that's just a little bit of getting older. He started slow because he was sick at the beginning of the year. He missed the first game of the season. Maybe the amulet hadn't fully tapped in yet. Maybe he's feeling some of the effects of that. And I mean, on top of that, he's always just been a little bit of a slower player. That's never really been his game. You age, it's going to kind of start to come to the surface and look like that piece of your game is going faster than all the rest. Now, where I kind of go with this and where I don't really want to talk about tonight, but it's just the more I'm pointing out because of the super chat from Max, and it's just kind of topical with it, is that the second line is better than the first line. Tonight, yes. Long term, I hold reservations about that. I'm not entirely sure that that'll be the case for a longer period of time, and I just worry a little bit that maybe JT's legs don't hold this same pace for the next 71 games of the season. That's all. And I'm not trying to knock him, not trying to knock any of these guys with that kind of stuff, but I do have concerns. Does that hold up? Will it hold up? Is he going to be able to still contribute at the same pace? Sorry, not will he be able to contribute, but will he be able to contribute at the same pace? That's kind of thought process behind that. But I would agree. For the time being right now, they have been better. They have been more dangerous. They have been more physical. Outside of really Matthew Knies, just not the same level of physicality, that's for sure. I mean, you look at the line, like right now, looking at the box score, we'll see if they change anything. These are immediate. That's the other thing to kind of remember when going through this stuff. But like Knies, a goal. He's 2 shots on goal, 6 hits tonight. Pacioretty had 7 hits. Pacioretty had 7 hits here tonight. This is a guy who has rejuvenated his game. He has found his role, said, this is the way you need me to play. This is how I'm going to be effective. This is how Berube is going to trust me. So this is what I'm going to fucking do. And I'm going to do it really, really well with a lot of intensity, a lot of passion and fire in his game. Like, he looks so engaged in the game every single time. But yeah, I mean, as far as second line better than first, physicality was there a little bit more. The offensive creation was there. You're seeing JT gets a hat trick. Willie gets 2 here tonight. Pacioretty gets himself on the board with another assist, which cashes something for us, which we'll talk about later in the show as well. It's a good night. JT, 2 assists. Willie, the 2 goals, 6 shots on goal. What more can you ask for from your second line when you're looking for some of these guys to, step up with some type of depth and get it from more than just Austin Matthews and Matthew Knies, who's been playing, I mean, really, really well. And on that topic, Matthew Knies, you want to talk about what that kid's been up to? Scores the first goal of the night. That is now 5 goals in his last 6 games. That's his 6th goal of the year. And on top of that, just as an aside, those 5 goals in his last 6 games, when he scored the goal, that was 5 goals on 14 shots. You want to talk about efficiency and being able to score at a high clip for not a lot of effort in terms of shots you need to take. Matthew Knies is putting that on display right now. I'll tell you that for free. He has been an absolute weapon for this team and for that first line. That kid is elevating his value every single time he steps on the ice. We've talked about it. Rosie and Nick talk about how important of a piece he is, because he's a playoff type guy. Oh yeah, he's a guy who will show up then when it matters, and he's a guy who can make that kind of impact. That's all true. Like, that's all true. But now he is just carrying it over with being able to make a huge, huge impact in the regular season. 82 games a season. If he can play this way, be this physically imposing, score goals like this, his value is just going up and up and up and up. It is nuts how good he is and how much he's standing out every single time we watch him. Because he's not just getting these goals and kind of flying under the radar. He's not just getting these and being like, oh, wow, wow, do you see Nyes picked one up? It's like, the way he's getting these, the way he is contributing, the way he's making these plays happen is from playing the game the right way, playing it kind of the Rube way here. Like, this is the perfect guy to come in and be his coach here right now, it feels like. He has been awesome to start this season, and if he continues this, his number at the end is going to be nuts. Let's talk about that goal here quickly as well. I was laughing when it happened because I have come on here numerous times, whether it's on the Leafs Nation channel or in years past talking about this, the first minute, the last minute. How many times do we watch this team be up a goal or up 2 goals or, in a tie game and with less than a minute left in a period or to start a period, they get scored on? And then you're like, wow, momentum killer. You go into the room now. You're thinking about it. You just came out of the room. You're thinking about it now because you were all hyped up, ready to go. You've got a lead. Let's run through this final 20 minutes or let's get through this second period. And less than 60 seconds in, the puck's in the back of your net. It has been a massive issue for this team for years and years and years. Tonight, Matthew Nyes flips the script and makes it the Leafs who send Seattle into the locker room down 1-0 with 5 seconds left on the clock. And I think that this is so important to have that happen and to be able to score those goals in the final minutes because the Leafs played a pretty good first period, like an okay first period. And then Seattle's sitting there like, you know what? We hung on. We were able to get out of this thing 0-0. We go to the locker room. We can regroup. We come back out for the second period. And it's a new game. It's a fresh start. We'll be okay. Like, we can come back into this one 0-0. And then Matthew Nyes buries that one off of a beautiful face-off play, which starts with Austin Matthews winning the puck through forward, gets to the other side, makes the play with his hand turned over. The pass gets blocked. It comes back to him. He makes the play back across yet again. Marner, quick little bumper pass. Matthew Nyes there in the slot to bury that one. It's just a very pretty play from that line, and it's a nice change of pace for this team to see them be the ones who flip it and turn it around the other way, and they're the ones who score that goal going in at the end of the period to make it 1-0 and put the other team in a different position mentally going into the locker room being like, whoa, we just went from 0-0 to down a goal here now. I told you guys that we had a guest here on the show tonight, someone that I was pretty excited to be able to talk to and get his thoughts on the game and how things went and how things have looked so far through the beginning of the season. And as we get to that, I want to remind you that our guest is brought to you by Square. If you run a restaurant, you're too busy for this ad, you're thinking about how to get more orders flowing and new locations opening. So really, you're already thinking about Square, because Square Restaurant Tech helps more than 400,000 restaurants do all those things and more. So when you're thinking about your restaurant, think bigger and think Square. Go to square.ca and see why Square is big in restaurants. Let's welcome to the program for the first time ever on the Leafs Nation After Dark, Tyler Ennis. Tyler, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
First off, before we get into anything, congratulations on a hell of a career. And how's retirement treating you?
Well, thank you very much. It's going well. Just been doing a lot of traveling and a lot of chilling. So I was overseas in Europe for a while, and I recently moved to Kelowna. So been spending a lot of time here and just getting everything moved and settled in and hanging out with family and friends. So it's been a nice, quiet, chill retirement up to this point.
That's pretty good. That's a pretty good way to go about it. Traveling. Any cool spots that you got to see over there in Europe? I saw you played in the Spengler Cup as well. One of my buddies was on that team with you there, so that's got to be a pretty cool experience.
Who's your buddy?
John Ang.
Okay, yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah.
He was. I was very surprised when I went over to Switzerland and played against him, and I was like, "Wow, this guy's unbelievable."
Yeah.
I couldn't believe he wasn't in the NHL. So great guy, great player. But the Spangler, yeah, it was fun to play with him over there in Davos for the Spangler Cup. Was a great experience. Didn't do so well, but it was fun anyways. My family was there, so it was cool. As for where I like the most in Europe, traveling around, I really love Italy. So much fun. Love eating, love drinking wine.
Yeah,
So
fair
I don't
enough.
know the spot to do that.
Yeah.
Uh, and then Switzerland's just so beautiful. Everywhere you go, there, it's just so nice. So heading back there in December to check some more spots out.
Let's get to tonight's game here. I know the chat's been dying to talk about one of the plays that happened. It's got brought up a few different times. I mentioned there as you were coming in that play from Matthews across off the faceoff, walks the guy, gets it across off the bounce back where he has to make a second pass, still with his hand turned over. But it's not just that. Like that's an incredible play on its own. The chat here has been going nuts about the bank shot at the end of the game. Can you just kind of speak to some of the skill that Austin Matthews has and just how unique of a player he is? Because so far to this season, it's been a slow start offensively for him for his standards, let's say. He's been an incredible 200-foot player, but just the impacts that he's making all over the ice, it's been pretty incredible. And it kind of sums it up there tonight with how good he is with his skill.
Yeah, I mean, just so good and so fun to watch, especially tonight. Like you said, those plays he was making are semi subtle, but so crazy. Like his bank empty net goal is so hard to do just in practice, just skating around. Like to do that in a game is is pretty wild. And I don't know if I've seen a nicer empty net goal than that. But the play off the face off. Um, is crazy because it like you said, it looked like his hand was turned over to win it back, and he went forward, and that's hard to do in general. And I really like Mitchie's pass too, because a lot of guys, probably including myself, would just shovel that one on net, and Mitchie finds nice for a tap in. So um, so much talent, so fun to watch, and yeah, it's nice. I was excited to come on here tonight because it meant I got to watch the Leafs game, and those guys they're fun to watch, especially Austin. He played amazing.
There are a couple of questions here about that, and you talk about you get to watch the game here tonight. But have you been watching much of the Leafs? And there is a super chat from our guy Max Entius Decimus in the chat, and he says, "Tyler, do you have a favorite Leafs player right now, and if so, why?"
I have not watched a lot. I haven't seen that. Might have been the first Leafs game I've seen this year, but I thought they played great. And my favorite Leafs player, oh, I love all those guys.
I know, tough question.
I think Toronto's lucky to have those guys like Mitchie, Sauce, and Morgan, Austin. I mean, they're just special and amazing people, and Toronto's lucky to have those guys for sure. They're all just really good people, and um, on top of that, very fun to watch.
I have a question for you here because you talk about these guys and you're bringing up how great of players they are, how good of people they are. But one thing that we have had some frustrations with here experiencing so far this season amongst Leafs fans has been the power play. You put all those guys on a power play together, and I think for most people's kind of assumption would be that they should be able to score at some outrageous clip. You know, they should have no issue scoring. It hasn't really been the case so far this season. A look again here tonight, obviously an incredible 4-1 win, but you look a little bit deeper into this one. They go 0 for 2 on the power play tonight. As for kind of big picture, I think that we saw them look a little bit more dangerous in some of the opportunities they had in this game specifically. That second power play, they generated a couple of great, like grade A chances. Pacioretty in the slot gets blocked. Domi hits the post, like things like that. But as far as those guys just not being able to produce at the man advantage so far for this season, is this something that is like a panic type situation? You think that they kind of figure this out? Like, take us inside that power play room where they're having these meetings and saying, how the hell do we figure this out? Like, do you have an answer for what's going on right now?
Well, I think it's probably a good thing that it's struggling right now and they're still playing well. Like it's going to come. They're too good not to have a strong power play eventually at some point. It's still early in the year. So um, I think that, if it's clicking down the stretch and into playoffs, that's all that really matters. As long as they find that timing, there's new guys on the team. Um, Timing is always hard, um, but they have the skill. You saw that tonight. That's the reason why they won is because, Seattle and Toronto both checked hard and they played systems well, but the difference was the fact that Toronto's got high end elite superstars. And I think that power play is just eventually going to click and it will. Like, there's just no reason why it won't.
Before the game here tonight, we found out through the media, which no surprise, things getting made more of a deal than maybe they even should be here in Toronto. But Willie had asked Berube and has had conversations with Berube about wanting more ice time. That gets made public, and it was kind of an interesting one that had happened, that came out. What do you think about him kind of going in there asking for it, and then the game he has here tonight to follow that one up? A couple of goals for him, some grade A chances. He looks really good. Obviously, there's a couple of moments where it cuts to Berube on the bench. Looks like he's giving him an earful. But outside of that, from start to finish, seemed like Willie had a great game here to kind of prove, hey, maybe I should be getting some more minutes.
I don't know anything about that conversation and who really knows, but I think Willie's a very confident guy, um, and he's so good. And I think Craig Berube is a coach that's honest and um, can talk to players and get the most out of them. So I have no idea what their conversations look like, but I know Willie's confident and Berube's a player's guy. So I'm sure in my I can only speak for myself, but coaches
Yep.
that were like Craig Berube, I liked because there was never anything personal. It was all about what you do on the ice. And I'm sure he loved the way Willie performed tonight. And uh, Willie's just continued to impress me over the years about how special he is as a player.
The other thing you kind of touched on, Berube's coaching, like what they're gonna demand of these guys. What's one of the biggest things that you think will or maybe has changed with Berube here in Toronto for this group? At least whether it's mentality, style of play, is it going to be very, very different by game 82 from what it was even say last season for this group? Are we going to have to continue to expect more and more change?
I don't know. I don't know Craig Berube. I know the guys in the Leafs locker room well. I think that they're Toronto's lucky to have a group that they have. I know they get a lot of heat for not having playoff success, but that's a core group that I think 32 teams or 33 teams, how many there are, would want.
Yeah.
I think that uh, from what I've heard, that Craig Berube is a player's guy. Like I said, I've never had him before, but
Yeah.
I think that's good. I mean, I think any honesty and transparency between players and coaches is a recipe for success, regardless of what you see in terms of yelling at each other, etc. I think as long as there's honesty and transparency, that stuff doesn't really matter as long as you're getting the most out of each other. So I liked that they hired Craig just from what I've heard about him.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like it's already been something that we're seeing like accountability being taken amongst the roster, amongst these guys. We're seeing like a little bit more of a kind of buy in some of the defensive game. One of the guys that I kind of curious your thoughts on has been Max Pacioretty. You got to play against him for a long period of time during your career. It was a very different player than what he is now and how he even played here tonight. Did it surprise you to see the, I guess, shift in mindset of Pacioretty and how he's adapted here and the kind of role that he's playing in Toronto?
Um, I think that the thing that surprised me would be the fact that he still came back from that injury and is successful. You know,
Yeah.
two times getting hurt like that and coming back is impressive. And for him to go on a PTO and make a team that's got a lot of offense coming off two injuries like that is impressive. So I think that speaks to his character, his determination, what he wants out of this year. He's a veteran guy that's going to help that locker room just from his experience. Um, and he can score goals. I mean,
Yeah.
he you give him the puck, he can score. So um, I think that it was a great signing, and immediately I think people saw from the first time he played off that PTO that he was good. So the Leafs added more goal scoring for sure with Max, and I don't know him personally, but
Yeah.
definitely impressed with how he's come back from those injuries at that age.
I got one more question for you here. Have you ever seen Heat Daddy on Twitter and his tweets to you and about you?
Yes, I'm a big fan of his. I think that guy's hilarious.
Yeah, one of my favorite ones is when he tweets the picture of you in the gold helmet. That's an all timer. It circles back every now and then. And says he's gonna have this kind of night, and it's you in the gold helmet. It makes me laugh every time.
I've met him a few times, and he's equally funny in person as he is on Twitter. And I mean, I'll just go on and read some of his tweets and just start giggling because it's so funny and so ridiculous. And I've even seen him in person. I said, tweet something quickly, like really funny. Like, I don't believe how you could be this funny, like this quick. And he's like, okay. So he takes his phone out, just 2 seconds, tweets something off. Funniest thing I've ever read. He's just great.
That's good stuff. Last thing I want to ask you, actually, I just thought about this as we were going, and I saw some people in the chat say it a little bit earlier here. Toronto gets a lot of heat for a quiet arena. You know, it's like this quiet barn. You can't get much life going in there. Rosie has a theory, and I'm buying into the theory that it's just on TV. It's just on TV. The mics aren't loud enough in there. They're not doing it justice. Can you confirm this conspiracy that Rosie and I have together? Is it louder in the arena than it is on TV, and they're just trying to make it seem like it's quiet?
It's definitely louder than what it seems on TV, but I also think that there's arenas that are louder.
Makes
Um,
sense.
like it's some rinks are just chaotic and it's just like crazy. You can't even hear yourself think. And Toronto, I don't think is at that level. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely louder than on TV seems for sure. Like even watching the game tonight, I was like, oof, it doesn't seem that loud. Like it's a little
Yeah.
sleepy in there, but I think Rosie's correct that it's louder in there for sure.
All right, fair enough. I appreciate it. We're trying to test this out and see what people think about it because the Amazon Prime ones, I don't know, maybe it was the mics, maybe they got some new tech or something, but all of a sudden those games go on and they do the one on Monday night against Tampa and we're sitting there watching. Rosie comes on. He's like, I think they jacked those things up in the building. Sounded like it was going nuts on that Monday night, but that was where we were at with that. So we wanted to see if anybody else could confirm for us.
I mean, I would like it to get louder in there, but I mean, it's Toronto. Those tickets are so expensive. You
Yeah.
might not get the crowd that's somewhere else, you know. But it is still loud. It's an NHL arena and it's the mecca of hockey, so
Yep.
it gets rowdy in there. But I wouldn't put it up there in the top five of loud rinks.
That's fair. Tyler, I appreciate you taking the time to do this, hopping on and breaking this game down. Hell of a career. Very fun player to watch. Someone that I was really excited about when you joined the Leafs and just being on the team. So I appreciate you taking the time to do this. And this was pretty cool for myself as well. Thank you.
No problem. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
There you go. Tyler Ennis hopping on to help us break this one down here tonight. Game 11 of the Maple Leafs regular season. Thank you to him for helping us out. Obviously, anytime we get to hear from anyone who played in the league, has been in the league, to break down everything that had gone on, it's going to be an awesome time here on the post-game show, and that's why you should be subscribed here to the channel, whether it is myself doing post games, Nick, Rosie hopping on here to help us break these things down, Carter Hutton hopping on, if it is Tyler Ennis stopping by, you never know, or it could be the Leafs morning show where they're having amazing guests over there as well. I asked Tyler about the quietness in the arena in Toronto. Diz K, Zach, you're part of the problem. LMAO, go watch them play in Buffalo or Winnipeg. Diz, I can't go to the games, man. Otherwise, we got to do the show. I can't go to the game. What do you want me to do? It's either I go to the game and I'm loud as hell, or there's a show. Those are the options. Those are the options. Come on. Wake up here. Wake up. Tyler there telling us, though, don't worry about the power play. It will be it will be all good. It will be all good. All right, continue on with what we had for I'm reading the chat. You guys are pretty funny. Continue on with thoughts from tonight's game before we get to some of the other stuff I have. Some other things I wanted to shout out. Joe Woll, another really good game for him. 24 saves on 25 shots. I thought Woll was really good here tonight. Early on when I thought the team was a little bit sleepy, he gave them some real good support back there where it's like, you know what? If he's not awake right away, right out of the gate, it could have gotten a little bit behind. We could have been kind of chasing this one, and he just never let that be the case. He just never let us get out of it and have to go from behind and be trying to come back in this one. He did that, so I was pretty pumped up with Joe Woll's performance, and on that, I'm pretty pumped up with the fact that we got 50 likes here on the stream tonight. If you are watching, you haven't hit the like button, keep hitting it. We hit 50. We're trying to get to 100. Obviously, I feel like this is what's going to happen. It happens in the arena. It's a little bit quieter. It's going to be happening here on the post-game show. It's Halloween. People are tired. They've been eating candy. They've been out walking around with their kids, so I understand. We hit the like button. We got the smelling salts going. Thank you for hitting the like button. Let's go here. Oh. Got the smelling salts going there. Oh my God, my eyes. I saw there was a question posted from our very own, from this channel in the chat, actually asking to rate the Muzzy. Send them in there. Oh my God, my eyes are watering. Send the rating in the chat. I want to see what it is. Good flop. Welcome to the stream. It was 4-1 for the Maple Leafs. Go to 6-4-1 on the season. Maple Leafs win this one. Another impressive win. pretty impressive. I mean, you go 3 for 3 on the penalty kill. You go 0 for 2 on the power play. Unfortunately, your goaltender, though, he does have himself a .960 save percentage. He stops 24 shots in 25. And I mean, on top of that, it's like that last goal, you got to feel for him, because the Leafs ruined that opportunity by trying to force feed the puck to Nylander for him to get the third goal. I understand why he hasn't had a hat trick in 7 years. I think it was his second season in the league, as my buddy, who's probably watching right now, had pointed out. He says, Willie hasn't scored a hattie since his sophomore season versus Boston. Most goals in the NHL without scoring a hattie since then. That's what he pointed out to me. I mean, yeah, you're trying to get that. I understand why. I understand them trying to make that happen for him. Unfortunately, it doesn't, and that happening led to an opportunity for the Kraken down the other way. So it stinks, and it ruins the shutout for Wall. But like, I mean, I'm not worried about that. It would have been awesome to have for him, but also to clarify, I think that's most 2-goal games in the NHL without scoring a hattie since then, not most goals without scoring a hattie. But the thing for Wall here is that he did not have the best game against St. Louis. That's kind of what I wanted to get to, is that game that he played last time, he did not have the best game. He comes back from injury, gets thrown in there. The team plays like garbage in front of him. It's a unfortunate situation all around, because you would like the guy to be able to go in there and not have like questions about himself, questions from the media about what he is, because every single time that we've watched him play, it felt like he's been really good. But the only issue that we've had with him is the availability. Like, the best ability is availability, and we have not really gotten that availability from Joseph Woll throughout his career. Every time he comes in, it's back out after a couple of games with some type of injury, and he's back into the press box. And that stinks, because him being on the ice is so much better for the team. He has been awesome. So he hops in there in that game against St. Louis, doesn't have a great outing. The team stinks in front of him, and then you start to wonder, is this going to be an issue? Are you going to have a goalie controversy? Is it a runaway with Stolarz? And you don't want those questions to creep in. So him going in the net tonight and having this game, and I know a bunch of you guys are pointing out, oh, he didn't have that much of a test. He didn't get peppered with that many shots or have that difficult of a night. No, he didn't. I would agree with that. But when it comes to just sheer ability to, make your team feel comfortable, stay in the game, get some saves, put them on the board, that is much more important than anything else, I feel like, at this point in the game. Because you need him to feel comfortable about his health, and you want him to feel confident about his state of play right now. You want him to just be not asking questions about himself, really. You don't want internal concern, or just internal conflict within his own head. And I think that a night like this really can put you in the right direction. So I wanted to give some kudos to him, and you guys in the chat clearly did as well. I'm looking at the expected goals chart here. This is a pretty funny chart to look at tonight. Austin Matthews had 1.41 expected goals. That is 1.7. If I can do math, I think I can. That is 0.17. Apparently not that good at math. 0.17 expected goals more than the Seattle Kraken. Austin Matthews single-handedly had 1.4 expected goals, and the Seattle Kraken as a whole had 1.24. Make of that what you will. Obviously, there's a lot more to go into that kind of stuff, but not a bad night for AM34. I thought he played pretty decent. He didn't have the craziest impact on the game, but from like a takeover standpoint, I want to point out he is 1 goal and 1 assist +2 and 4 shots on goal here tonight. Couple other things. I'm seeing some quotes coming out from the game here tonight. Austin Matthews, I guess, had talked to Matthew Nyes in the room, and they asked Matthew Nyes about the empty net goal by Matthews, and he says, he told me he aced geometry. Good one. Funny. I see some questions. What's the deserve to win a meter? 67.6 for the Maple Leafs tonight. There you go. 67.6 in favor of the Maple Leafs. Yeah. Patrick +2. What else you want, right? Fair enough. Yeah. I had a good night. I more so mean just like from the Matthews perspective of him taking over, and you could tell how dominant he is. It didn't feel like that was like, oh wow, like he was like all over it, and like every time he was out there I felt like he was dangerous. Like he looked good, but it didn't have that next step, which is like that little piece that you're looking for from him. That little extra bite. You know? The little, you know, when you have a pasta and you're like, good, needs something. That's what you're missing from Matthews. I think Nick and I talked about that the other day. He just feels like he's like right there on everything. And I think that it'll come. It'll come with time. It will come with time. I do want to get to our next segment here. We are 48 minutes into the show, so we'll continue to go on with a couple more segments before we wrap this one up. And this next segment is brought to you by Bet365. This pre-game and TLN After Dark segment, Best Bet segment, is brought to you by Bet365, proud partner of the Leafs Nation After Dark. Open an account with Bet365 today and bet on a huge range of markets. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Make sure to use code NATION. That's NATION. Code NATION, NATION, when you sign up today. Best bet for tonight. Hopefully you guys watch the game previews, as we are now on a roll with these. Every game, every Leafs game, I'm doing a game preview, talking about the lines, who we know is playing, who we know is going to net, maybe for the other team, who's going to net for the Leafs, what the line combinations are going to be, if there was changes to the power play, the penalty kill. It's all done in the Leafs game preview that we're putting out every single game day. But on top of that, we're also bringing you best bets. And if you're following along right now, we have now won 3 in a row. 3 consecutive best bets hit in a row. And it's only a 5-7 record on the season. We are technically down on the record and how many wins versus losses we've had. But this is now up $173. We set the unit size at 100, right? $100 is the unit size. If you have been following along with the unit sizing and betting it as we've been doing, 100 is the one unit, where we're doing halves, quarters, 3/4, whatever it may be on these. You would be up 1.73 units. If you're doing it at the $100 unit sizing and following along with exactly how we're giving these out, you would be up $173 so far through the first 11 games. We have given out 12 picks because I had the one game where I gave out 2, but we are now up $173. Tonight's best bet was Max Pacioretty. You guys talked about it, and what I was looking for was this second line. You brought it up in the chat. They've been playing so well. They've been they have been creating opportunities. They're physical. They're able to get a cycle game going. Max Pacioretty is a guy who is going to be generating points. I thought his goal scoring number here and his points were pretty much accurate. Nothing really to be able to get any type of edge on there. But what I did find the edge in was plus 260 on the assists. I talked about that, how in the pregame, what I would be looking for with those guys is Pacioretty is a guy who's able to get in and be physical, and he can dish. He can find other guys. He can find guys into certain positions and get them open because he's now changing and adapting his game. And that's one where you got to think him going and being physical and driving net hard and being tough to deal with for other teams, especially down low, is going to be able to create opportunities. That's going to lead to goal scoring and offensive generation. It happened here tonight. It happens off a beautiful play from John Tavares, where he passes to William Nylander, and it started with Patches getting the shot in the slot. So we do kind of get lucky because it wasn't just a straight up pass from him. Gets it in the slot, shoots it, rebound pops out. Tavares turns, buries, no looker on his knees across to Nylander, backdoor. But regardless, they don't ask how, they ask how many, and that's another win for us in the win column, and that's $130 profit for us here on tonight's game to put us up 1.73 units on the season, or $173. So that is our best bet. That one hits. We will keep that one going. That's 3 in a row now. Let's see if we can stay hot on Saturday. Now, we do have a couple more segments to get to here tonight before we wrap this one up. Next one being the play of the game. Play of the game for me tonight. Play of the game is going to be... I think it's going to be that Nylander goal that I would love. This one's hard. There are actually a couple of highlight reel plays. So... oh, man. You know what? Fuck it. Play of the game goes to the Matthew Nyes goal. Send yours in the chat, because there's a couple that you could pick from easily. I was going to go with the JT, like, on his knees, no-look pass, but the reason I want to go with the Austin Matthews face-off play to Nyes scoring is, for those of you who play Chell, video games, EA, whatever. For those of you guys who play that, that's a Chell goal. Like, you go to men's league and you're on center with like a couple seconds left in the period. That's what you are trying to do. You are trying to like walk the guy, make some nasty play, tell your buddy, go backdoor, put your stick on the ice, you're going to hit him. That's what you're trying to do. And they just did that in the NHL. And not even did they do that in the NHL, but they did it with like a little bit extra pizzazz. Matthews does that. His hand is turned over on his stick. He passes it. It comes back to him. He passes it again to Marner, tape to tape. And then all he's got to do, as Ennis said there, he would have just shot it. I probably would have just shot it. But he takes it and just makes a little bumper pass to Nyes, who buries it into the empty net. So I want to be able to give to the other goals that were scored. Like, there are some amazing ones that were scored, but that is like the dream highlight reel goal. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, that's something that like everyone wants to do, does in Chell, can think about saying like, hey, that's the play you want to happen. Hey, just walk the guy, make it happen. You play men's league with your buddies, or you're watching your kids play, walk the guy, do that. And it's like, no, like they just did it in the NHL, in the hardest league, in the best league in the world. They do that. That was sick. Honorable mentions, I'm going with the chalk. I'm not gonna lie. Johnny T, pass to Nylander. It starts with Nylander. It starts with this, actually. It starts with Pacioretty at the blue line, making a strong physical play, not letting Eberle take the puck from him, just winning a board battle and saying, fuck you. This is my puck, not yours. holding it until Tavares, having the presence of mind until Tavares gets out of the zone. Then he chips it back to Nylander, who goes into the offensive zone with the puck. He comes in high as JT goes to the net, hits Pacioretty on a disgusting pass in the slot. He shoots it, saved, but Tavares grabs the puck on his knees. Beautiful pass to Willie, who has now curled around the other side, buries it into a wide open net. Honorable mention. Next honorable mention. Morgan Rielly. All 4 goals are getting highlighted here tonight because they need some love. Morgan Rielly entering the zone with speed. Nylander going across to the other side. Rielly just hold up, nasty play past the defenseman, rip across the ice, tape to tape, finds Nylander. Bingo. Gross. And we're on the board yet again. Willie's all pumped up. All the boys are going. The arena's going nuts. Different song playing, as pointed out by our guy Michael on Twitter earlier. Different song playing for the first one by accident. Then we're back to the regular song. Crowd's going nuts. Kind of, maybe as much as the Toronto crowd can go nuts. But nasty play there. And then the other one, obviously, the goal scored by Austin Matthews. These also all come off of just like, it's not just the finish that scores and that gets it done and it's like, wow, what a play, what a goal. It's like, no. The play leading up to it was also beautiful. Mitch, in his own zone, killing off the final minute of the clock, or 2 minutes of the clock. Eats 30, 40 seconds, whatever it was, along the wall, just going up and down the wall, not letting anybody get the puck from him, eating away time. He's not even just necessarily possessing it, but they're just in a full-blown battle. No one can get it off of him. He's eating clock for the most important part of the game. Right now, it's a 2-goal game. Seattle could have some life if they're able to get the puck out here and get an odd man. He's not letting that happen. Wins the battle along the wall. Puck does bounce out, and then it's Matthews who goes and gets it, and he looks up ice, and he goes, looks at the empty net, fakes the empty net, looks it off, skates to the wall intentionally, skates to the wall. Intentionally skates to the wall and does a perfect bank pass. Perfect bank pass into the empty net. This is the National Hockey League, and guys are doing this bank pass off the wall into empty nets. The skill on display tonight was great, but it was also led by just great plays prior to. Pacioretty on the wall, Marner on the wall, the face-off play. Like, these other little plays that are happening are also, good hockey plays. And then they result in a goal, and it's like, well, shit, don't you think we should do this more often? We'll see. See if they can carry this over to Saturday. But, I mean, just some great plays tonight, and those needed to be shouted out. Good for Joseph Wall for another amazing night, but kudos to those. Those are my honorable mentions and stuff. I gave a lot of them. Final thing here tonight as we wrap this one up. Let's do our grade of the game. Grade of the game. You guys send yours in the chat. I want to know what you guys have as well. But grade of the game for me tonight is going to be I think grade of the game tonight is like A minus, maybe B plus. Maybe if you guys in the chat like start sending something, it'll convince me, but you got to give me a little bit of a reason. I'm kind of in like that A minus range. Here's why. First of all, like, I think it was a really good game, but it's like there's some imperfection. There's some stuff that could have been better. I thought it was a little bit of a slow start to the night. So that's the first part of this. Like, not a bad start, I don't want to say, but like a slower start to the night. So there's that. Then it's okay, you got it going, and you didn't let you scored that last second goal, really, 5 seconds left. That's a positive, right? Like, that's a major positive for this team that is often the ones giving up that goal. I was happy to be on the other end of it. Cheese Wizard says you say A minus like it's a negative thing. Well, I'm not. I'm just saying like today felt like a good game, like not a great game. So I'm kind of just in that A minus B plus range. Like I think, and seems like the chat's kind of in the same spot. So I think I'm comfortable with the A minus. But yeah, it's like there felt like moments where it was like a little bit of a lull in play, but maybe that was just a natural lull of the Leafs putting the other team to sleep. I think you played real well at 5-on-5. Your chances generated were real high there. You kind of dummied the Kraken in terms of at least some of the underlying analytics. You gave up no goals on the penalty kill. The one goal that you do give up is kind of off of a mental play there where it's like you tried over and over and over and over again to bury or to get Nylander to bury into the empty net for the hat trick. Doesn't end up working and ends up going down the other way into the back of your net. But you do score the empty netter following that, and it's Austin Matthews who does it. Nylander gets 2. Matthews gets himself on the board with another one tonight. So even with a slow start for him, like he's not out of this thing. If this guy gets hot for 10 games, he could be right back in there amongst the league leaders for goals this season. As for William Nylander, multi-goal game here tonight. He looks pretty good. Six shots on goal. This is following him asking Berube for more ice time. 6th goal of the year. Nice. 6 goals. Like it's I guess actually, sorry, Nylander now at 8 goals this season. Nice at 6. Matthews at 5. Like these guys are just slowly kind of collecting some of these points, and it feels like to this point they haven't even played their best hockey. It feels like they haven't played their best hockey for a consistent period of time. Other things contributing to this grade would be Joe Wall, 960 save percentage, 24 for 25. Those things are all positives. Those are all positives. The negatives do come in. Power play still doesn't score. Second power play did look a lot better. First power play, I was sitting there like, I can't believe I'm watching this again. That was a little bit of a frustrating one, just watching it just not really generate crazy opportunities or be very lethal. The second one, mind you, they start with the second unit, which is nice when you have the balance. You can do that. And they created a couple chances. It's Max Domi rips one off the bar. There was some shots in front of the net that end up getting blocked, but they were in there and they created some havoc. Then it's the first unit that comes out. Pacioretty almost scores. He's got an empty net. It just gets blocked. Like they were around it and it just ultimately didn't end up going their way. But I want them to be able to actually get on the board because it's great to say they tried and they looked better, but at some point it's got to go in. Like at some point, you've got to score goals. So that's kind of my mindset behind the A minus. I think I'll stick with the A minus. It's like wow, there were some real good games and there were some like we want more games. Like it was just missing that from them. I don't know. A minus I think is good grade though. Like, are we gonna be upset about that? PK still looks strong. That's going to do it for me here tonight. I appreciate you guys all watching, following along, sticking around here. I appreciate Tyler Ennis for hopping by the show. First time he's done that. First time we've had someone not, I guess, a part of the network to join a part of TLN, like the Leafs Nation shows, to join here on the post games for any kind of reaction. So thank you to him for doing this and taking the time later at night. I guess he's on West Coast, so I mean, he still showed up. Thanks to Mr. Ennis. Appreciate it. That's it. Thank you to the chat. As always, you guys are the best. You guys are what makes this show run. You guys are what makes this a lot easier for me every time. Hopefully the mustache was not too disturbing for you guys. It'll be here for the month of November. I wonder if Nick will have one tomorrow. I wonder what'll be going on there. Maybe producer Vic. Maybe you guys can convince Rosie. You can find that out tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. Eastern time right here on the Leafs Nation YouTube channel. That's the Leafs Nation 401 right here on YouTube. You want to listen to those guys, Leafs Morning Take, wherever you find your podcast. You want to listen to me, Leafs Nation After Dark, wherever you find your podcast as well. Make sure to check it out. This has been game number 11 of the Toronto Maple Leafs regular season, defeating the Seattle Kraken 4-1, going to 6-4-1 on the season. Thank you all for watching, and as always, keep believing. For more content just like this, including game previews, post-game live shows, Leafs Morning Take Monday through Friday with Nick Alberga and Jay Rosehill with special guests, as well as instant reaction videos, make sure to be subscribed here to the Leafs Nation YouTube channel. Turn on notifications so you don't miss anything, and drop a like.